everybody, and welcome to a special video today. It's been requested by a few people that I do a tattoo tour video. So yeah, today I'm going to show you a few of my tattoos, all of my tattoos, and I'll give like a little brief talk about each one, I suppose, if there's anything to talk about. I have a total of 20 tattoos, all like along my arms and along my chest as well. I'll show you some like up close photos and some like B-roll footage so you can get a good look at each one. I'll just jump right into it, I think. My first ever tattoo was this Sheikah tattoo. It's an Eye of Truth tattoo from the Legend of Zelda games. You can see in this photo was taken like immediately afterwards, so you can see it isolated on its own. I can't really remember much about this tattoo. I got it about 7 years ago. I think I asked one of my friends who'd gotten tattooed to recommend me a place to go to get tattooed, and then I literally just walked in with this design and I was like, yo, can you do this on my arm please? And they were like, yes, we can. And it got done. It took about 45 minutes to an hour, less than that, surely. Probably half an hour then. I can't really remember. But it wasn't a long period of time. It didn't hurt too much. I guess I'll talk a bit about the pain level of each tattoo, but generally like the forearms hurt a tiny bit, but not very much. The upper arm sort of bicep area does not hurt at all well, it hurts a tiny bit, but like not much at all. Very easy to put up with. And then for me, the chest is the most painful area I've gotten tattooed so far. By far the most painful area. Particularly like the center of this chest. I think that's called the sternum, isn't it? Anyway, I'm going to jump onto my second tattoo now. This tattoo is not the best. This was done by a guy I didn't really know, and I don't know, I feel like he may have been drunk or extremely hungover when he tattooed this on me, because he smelled of alcohol. That probably should have been a warning sign for me really to get out of there, but honestly, I mean, he didn't do a terrible job. This little symbol is something I drew, I think, and it's based on the game's Fable. The first Fable game in particular. There were a few tattoos that looked somewhat like this one. Yeah, so that's that one, not a great one. My third tattoo was this "Fear cuts deeper than swords" quote that I got along my arm. I think that came out quite well actually. That one's like 7 years old as well, and you can still see it to this day. It's fairly legible. That is a quote from Game of Thrones. I think Arya Stark does training, sword training, with that guy Syrio Forel. And yeah, in the books, one of his quotes is "Fear cuts deeper than swords," and it's like a mantra that Arya repeats to herself over and over in her mind. And I think basically for me, it means like the fear of the event is usually greater than the event itself. Like, the event is never as bad as you think it's going to be. So yeah, for me it's just about like anxiety really, and fear, and I do get a lot of like anxiety, in particular social anxiety, social situations. I don't know, but you know, things always usually work out in the end if I just go along and try my best, and I think that's similar for everyone, you know. Okay, on to the next tattoo. We have a bird skull, sort of like a crow or a raven skull. This was my first tattoo done by a guy called Jules Gordon. He works in Cardiff. You can check out his Instagram if you'd like. It is at the Gordon Tattooer. This guy favourite tattoo artist that I've come across so far. He's honestly really great. I like his style. He's very professional and he's just really laid back, easy to talk to, and it's always just a great experience getting tattooed by this guy. And there's not a great deal of meaning behind this tattoo. Honestly, I just like skulls. I don't know why. I like the aesthetic of skulls, the look of them, and I also particularly like bird skulls. I just think they look really cool. So that's why I got that one done. I have now this Helm of Ore tattoo, also known as Aegis-Helmia or Aegis-Helmia. I can't pronounce it. I think it comes from Iceland. It's an Icelandic magical symbol, a stave, sort of like a runic design, sort of associated with Vikings and Norse mythology. This particular stave is supposedly to give you protection from people in positions of power or people who seek to like abuse you and abuse their power to like manipulate you, control you, take advantage of you, etc., etc. That's my interpretation of it anyway. There are various interpretations. I think from a historical point of view, this symbol was supposedly worn on the helmet or even like painted on someone's forehead. That's why it's called the Helm of Ore to some people. Yeah, there's various meanings for it. Some people think it means to protect you in battle, stuff like that. This is my most recent tattoo actually. This is just a little snake fellow, and this is literally just filler. I had an awkward space to fill up, and I was like, you know what we could do in this space? A snake. Snakes are cool, let's get it done. It's funny, when I first started getting tattoos, like my first and second and third tattoo or whatever, I was like, oh, these tattoos have to have deep, significant meaning to me to get them. And I would spend ages and ages and ages thinking about the design to make sure that I wanted it. That's probably a good practice, definitely for your first tattoo, but the more tattoos you get, the more you don't necessarily like care if they have a deep meaning or anything like that. Now if I see a tattoo that looks cool, I'm just like, yeah, I'm getting that done, and that's all the meaning I need now to get a tattoo. I just need to like the look of it. Travelling further up my arm, we have here Loki. This is an interpretation of Loki, the trickster god from Norse mythology. I really like this tattoo. It's probably one of my favourite tattoos actually. This again was done by Jules Gordon. Probably the majority of my tattoos are done by him, so definitely recommend checking him out on Instagram, as I mentioned. I like Loki a lot in Norse mythology because he's like this naughty prankster, trickster kind of god. He's not a god in the same sense that like Odin and Thor are gods. Those gods are like Aesir gods, which are like the warrior gods basically, and they're sort of the most powerful gods and the ones that govern their realm. But Loki is like the son of a giantess, I think, and the giants and giantesses are like these gigantic beings that predate the gods. They're sort of like titans in Greek mythology, I think. And Loki is a descendant of these giants, so he has like an evil streak to him, supposedly. Like he's always trying to initiate Ragnarok, which is the downfall of the gods. But there is some accounts of Ragnarok being like just the death of an old generation of gods, and then a new younger generation of gods comes and takes their place. So it could be argued that Loki is like the necessary force for rebirth. You know, it's like destruction, rebirth, that kind of cycle. I could probably talk about Norse mythology on and off for ages and ages because it's an interesting topic. I really like it. But yeah, this is just my tattoo artist's interpretation of fusing his two ravens together and being like, lol, I made your birds into one monstrous creature. I don't know, it's a bit of a silly one, I guess. I do sort of like dark, monstrous things though. I just like the aesthetic of it. Quite into like horror, stuff like that. Okay, moving on to this little bird down on my other arm. This is just filler. I had an awkward gap to fill and I went with a bird. I'm very happy actually with the design on this. It's quite nice. This one is difficult to show off because there's a lot of wraparound. I'm going to jump up to this handprint tattoo. This is a very old tattoo. This was a weird one because I just saw this design on the internet and I was like, I like the look of that, I'm going to get it. I kind of feel like it represents the animal nature within mankind, humankind, and the fact that we are just animals, like slightly more advanced, arguably, than other animals, but still animals all the same. I don't think we're like some sort of magical, divine entity that is above animals and above nature. I think we're just a part of it. We're just like slightly more intelligent. I'm going to spin around now and show you guys this dark mark tattoo. It's supposed to be based on Harry Potter and the dark mark that the supporters of Voldemort have on their forearm. Basically, I showed the dark mark design to an artist and I was like, could you do your own interpretation of this please? The artist's name is Wolfskull Jack. She is absolutely massive now. Like, I commissioned this from her when she was back on DeviantArt and I was very lucky to be able to commission her because nowadays I don't think you can commission her really. She works for like big companies now. She recently did poster designs for Metallica and yeah, they went on their tour I think last year before all the madness, and yeah, the posters she designed like sold out within like a couple of hours or something. She's an amazing artist. Definitely check out Wolfskull Jack. But yeah, basically I'm super into Harry Potter, really enjoy it as a series. It's a bit of a shame about J.K. Rowling and her recent political views, we'll say, and we'll say no more than that. But the series itself, Harry Potter, excellent series of books, grew up on it, brilliant characters, I like it. Now I'm gonna show you this tattoo in my ditch. It is No Face from Spirited Away. Yeah, basically this is another gap filler. I definitely wanted something on my body from Studio Ghibli because I watched those movies as a kid and they were amazing. I love them so much. I must have watched each movie like 10 times at least. Yeah. And I like the character of No Face. He's kind of weird, kind of spooky, a little bit misunderstood. Yeah, I just like him. Thought he would fit nicely in with the rest of my tattoos. Moving on to my upper arm, we have two tattoos, both of which are inspired by enemies from The Legend of Zelda. Again, I love The Legend of Zelda, grew up on these games, in particular Ocarina of Time. Such a good game. But yeah, I have on the outside a Skulltula, basically this side. This, again, these are Icelandic staves. This one isn't particularly historically accurate. I think it was just drawn up by an artist, a sort of practicing modern pagan artist. It's called Lukustafia, and it is basically to ward off bad luck, to protect you from bad luck. I liked it, I got it. That's the end of that one. Over on this side we have Vegvisir. This one I think is more historically accurate. This one, some people call it the Viking compass. It's generally believed to safely get people through storms, and you can probably take that in a literal sense. Back in the Viking Age, because they did obviously traverse massive oceans in longboats, and if there was a terrible storm, chances are they would all drown. You know, it's scary times, but I like it as a sort of metaphorical meaning that you can apply to modern life. Something to help guide you through storms, something to help guide you through bad times and help you to make good decisions and choices. Okay, now I'm going to move on to my chest. My chest I got done in a few different segments, not all in one go, and I'm glad I did, to be honest, because it was ridiculously painful. The first part of the chest that I got done was the word blessings, and yes and no. You can see in this photo, it looks quite nasty actually. It looks quite inflamed and red and angry, and I mean it did hurt a lot, so this photo is probably an accurate representation of the pain level. But yeah, initially I wanted to go for a Ouija board design on my chest, but then I was thinking it's a little bit boring, so I'm going to spice it up a little bit. I got the classic sort of sun and moon on the edges of my chest / shoulder area. These are just straight from a Ouija board, really, just done in a tattoo artist style. And then after that, let's have a look. I think I got the pentagram and the word goodbye tattooed, and then in a different session later on I added these sort of demonic, mutant looking skulls to the side, and also some shading as well to make the yes and the no look a part of the overall design as opposed to just floating words. I got a pentagram because I'm quite into like the occult and magic. I was into Wicca when I was younger, and later I was into paganism. These days I would say I'm more atheistic than anything else, but I am open-minded to the possibility of anything and everything, really. I got the demonic sort of skulls because I am into, like, I don't know, I really like demons and like satanic imagery. I like it as an aesthetic, and yeah, I suppose that is the simple meaning behind it. It's mostly just the design that I slowly came up with over time that I like the look of more than anything else. Oh yeah, this chest piece was done by a guy called Jamie. I can't remember his surname, but his Instagram handle is Hounds of Hell. He's based in Cardiff. He recently moved to a different studio, I think in Penarth, which is just a tiny little bit sort of on the outskirts of Cardiff. But definitely check out his Instagram if you're interested. He's a great tattoo artist. He usually does more sort of fine line stuff and like Japanese, oriental tattoo kind of stuff. But he's quite versatile. Really cool guy as well. Definitely recommend him. So yeah, I do believe that is it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed looking at my tattoos today. Hope you enjoyed this video. I plan on getting a lot more tattoos in the future. I'm definitely going to finish all the gaps in my arms first. Then I'm going to get my hands done, hopefully. I'm going to get something across my knuckles. Yeah, and then once that's done, I'm going to move on to like it's a challenge in that regard as well. But we'll see. I would probably never get my face tattooed, mostly because of like jobs, because I have a hard enough time getting a job already. I don't want to get my face tattooed, mate. In an ideal world, if I didn't like have to worry about jobs and stuff, I would probably get like a small tattoo along the eyebrow. I think those look cool, and I'd probably get something tiny sort of on the side of the eye, not like a tear, maybe like an inverted cross, really tiny though, really tiny. I don't know. And I think I probably will get my neck done, but not the front part here, mostly because I don't want my Adam's apple to get tattooed. It's very sort of big and pronounced, and I can imagine how painful that must be. But like, I'd probably get the back and sides of my neck done. I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, let me know if you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, thumbs up, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below if you have any tattoos of your own, which is your favourite. Let me know if you plan to get tattoos in the future. I am always super interested to talk about tattoos and to see people's tattoos as well. Oh guys, I have an Instagram now as well. I've probably had it for a while by the time this video goes up, but I haven't really advertised it at all. I just sort of made it. So follow me on Instagram if you'd like, and feel free to DM me as well. Definitely send me photos of your tattoos. I would love that. That'd be so cool. Alright guys,